Welcome to another ARCHLineXP tutorial with Hendrik. So in today's tutorial, as you can see here on my screen, we basically have a really nice facade that we're going to be working on. So for the facade, we're going to be creating, tiling, cladding, all that sort of stuff in this little extension here on the side. And we're going to be creating this little slab on the top. And we're going to be adding, like I said, some cladding, some really nice aesthetically appealing elements, a little parapet, and then also this little feature right here and the modern railing right there. And that's going to help us achieve really nice elevations like you can see here on the left. And we can add colors to that after we've actually created our entire building. We can create a really nice elevation out of that. So let's put on some good tunes and get right into it. Okay, so the first thing that we'll start with is this little extension here on the side. Okay, so for this part, we just need the cladding to go right over the top and right to the bottom here. And we also need to actually change this render layer to a 30mm batten layer, obviously to support the cladding. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to adjust this to have the 30mm cladding, and that's going to go all the way to the bottom of this. So that's going to have to cover the top of this this entire part, this entire region. And the second reason that we're doing that is because the cladding is actually going to stick to a background layer, which is this layer on the wall. So it has to stick to something. So that's how it's going to work. So let's get into that. So what we need to do is for this wall, okay, we'll just go to edit compound walls, and this render layer, we're going to click that to bottom of structure so that that is going to the bottom of the slab. So we'll go to bottom of structure and we'll click OK, and we're going to change this to batten. Okay, so that's going to be 30mm battens, and this layer will represent the battens. Okay, and we will just go okay. So you can see there's our batten layer. And what I'll do is I'm going to actually save this so I don't have to recreate it. So I'm going to go new. I'll save that in this project only because that's the only one I need it in. Plus, and I'll just add this as a note to myself. Plus battens. Plus 30mm battens. Okay, and I'll just go plasterboard plus 30mm battens. Okay, so plasterboard is on the inside, and instead of a render, we're having the 30mm battens. So I'm just going to go okay. Okay, so that should be this one. Although I'll just rename that instead of BW04. I'm just going to save it as BW16 just so I don't get confused. Okay, so I'll just click OK, and that's going to be this one. So I'll just go click activate and I'll go OK. Okay, so now you can see it's instantly adjusted it so that it's included in this distance. So that's going to cut through there. Now if we click rebuild, you can see now that the battens is going right over the top, and we've included that in the actual width of this layer. So you can see it's cutting now through the slab, which is correct. Okay, now this one we're going to do the same. So we're going to change, we can simply just click over here and then click down here, and we'll go to that wall layer that we just created, which is BW16. Let's just see, there it is. So we'll just click on activate and OK, so that we don't have to redo that again. We'll just click rebuild. Okay, so now you can see that's all included. And I'm just going to go to this one as well, and I'm just going to click here, and I'm going to click down here and go to BW16. and I'll click activate. Okay, so just click rebuild. Right, so that's pretty much all we have to do. Now for the background, I think we don't really have to change that because that's going to be covered by the cladding, of course. So we can, but it's not necessary. Okay, so I'm just going to go and cover this with cladding. Okay, so now the cladding is going to stick to this full covering. Okay, so I'm just going to right click on it, go tiling on wall side on this wall only. Okay, so you can see this is not the correct tiling I want to use, so I'm just going to go back to this one that we created previously and go right click. I'm going to go tiling on the layout, so we'll just click on this, right click, and I'll just go to tiling on the layout. Okay, so I'll just click over here. So this is just so that the program remembers the tiles that we were using. So I'll just go edit, click on it. Okay, so you can see these ones, this is the correct dimensions that you should be using. So whatever cladding you're using, you'd put that width right in here. The height, you just want that as high as possible because that's just covering over one level. And then obviously here you can put in the width of the battens, sorry, the cladding. So I put that as 25 mil, and you can put a little background area, which would essentially just be, you know, the thickness of the back part. And then the grout, essentially that would just be the gap between these. So I just put that as 5 mil. So I'll click OK, and I'm just going to exit this and click escape and delete this. Okay, now the program has remembered the tiling that we used over there, so we can just go and use it over here. So I'll just go right click, and I'll go to tiling on wall side, and tiling on this wall only. Okay, so now you can see we have our cladding. So it has a background color, so we don't need to change anything. So I'll just go OK, and I'm going to clad from here, holding shift, to here. Okay, so we've got our cladding running right on top of our battens. Okay, so you can see it like that. Okay, so we'll just do the same on the other two sides. So we'll just click right click, we'll go tiling on wall side on this wall only, and I'll just go okay from here to here. Okay, now we can probably change that so it goes from here to the back area. So I'll just go tiling on wall side on this wall only. Okay, and I'm actually going to tile it from right to left, so we start with a full batten. Okay, so that's a little bit better. Okay, and we'll do it on this side as well. So I'll just go right click, tiling on this wall side on this wall only, and I'll just go okay, and I'm going to click it from this node, from this edge to, so I'll hold shift so I make sure this is straight, and I'll just click over here. Okay, so now we have our cladding looking really nice, and we have the battens running all the way to the bottom, which is correct. Okay, now we're here with the facade. So as you can see, there's a few things that will need some updating and changes to actually make sense in the way that this is built. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we need to extend this upwards. So this is like a little parapet feature wall. So that's going to go right on top of this. So it's going to go a little bit above this railing. It's going to have a parapet capping on the top. Okay, then one thing we will need to change is actually how this slab is connecting to the internal slab. So we need to change this slab to 150 mils because this balcony slab needs to be 100 mils, but it needs to be going down by 50, so it needs to be offset by 50 mils. And this should actually be sitting right on top of the slab that's going to come in underneath. So that's one part we will actually need to update. And what that's going to do is that's going to actually reduce the need for having to use two separate walls for two areas. So this one we're going to delete, and we're just going to save this. We're just going to create one single wall going right on top of the slab, as you can see down here, as we did previously. Okay, so let's get started with that. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that the slabs that we create are actually correctly placed. Okay, so I'm gonna actually just save this door so I don't have to recreate it. So I'll go new, and I'll go bedroom balcony door. Okay, I'm just gonna save it in this project, and I'll just go okay. Okay, and we're just gonna delete this one, and we're gonna delete this wall. Okay, so now we can see the slab is right over here. Okay, and I'm just gonna hit rebuild so we can see what happens. Okay, so we can see that there's a finish layer and there's 100 mil slab. So this wall, okay, this is sitting right on top of so this is sitting right on top of the slab. So I'm just going to actually delete this tiling so that we can actually see what's going on. Delete tiling. So I'll just go right click, and I'll go actually delete all tiling. Okay, right click, and I'll delete all tiling. Okay, so we can see this wall is correctly sitting right on top of the slab. Okay, so let's just go have a look. So you can see here, if we just go like that, so this is sitting right on top of the slab, right? So that's what I'm going to change. So I'm going to move this right across to here. Then I'm going to connect these two. All right, we want to move this back a little bit like that, so it's making a proper L connection. And I'll just go connection L like that. Okay, let's go have a look. Okay, so now that is connected properly. Okay, now if we just rebuild this, okay, you can see that it's now sitting on top of this slab. Okay, so that should be all good. Now the one thing we want to change, and this is the part that you'll see how everything actually updates automatically. Okay, so now we come back to our engineer, and our engineer has said to us that, well, we actually need to make this slab thicker, because how are we going to make that connect to our balcony slab? Okay, so we're going to delete this slab, okay, so we can make a little bit more sense of this. Okay, so this is only 100 mil slab, but it needs to be connecting to a slab outside that's going to be offset by 50 mils. Okay, so what we need to do is we're going to click on it, and we're going to go edit, and we're going to create we're just going to change this to 150. Okay, so down here we're going to say minus 150 because this is extruding downwards, and I'm going to save this as a new slab type. So I'll go new, I'll just say in this project only, and I'll just change this to 150. Okay, so now that's a 165 in total, and I'll go okay and activate, and I'll go okay. So now we've run into a little bit of a problem, because actually the walls, you can see here, they're not correctly attaching to this. Okay, but we can actually fix that, because we've luckily constrained all of our walls to a specific layer. So now we need to go to level 1. Okay, so ground floor will have a thickness, so the ground floor is 100 mil slab. Level 1 needs to be minus so for this one it was 165. Okay, so the reason for that being, it's a 150 millimeter slab plus a 15 millimeter finish, So this is minus 165. Okay, so we've actually updated that in our level settings. So we'll go OK. Right, I'll just go OK. And I'm going to hit rebuild. Okay, so let's go have a look. So now you can actually see, if we have a look at this, we'll just delete the part so we can see. So this slab, you can see that it's actually spaced this properly now. So this is now, so you can see these walls are still sitting right on top of the slab. So now it's actually been spaced properly, and that's good because that doesn't require us to actually recreate all the walls. Okay, so now what we need to do is, so these walls haven't been constrained, so that's okay. We'll just leave them like that because we're going to change them anyways. Now we're going to add a 100 mil slab right here. Okay, and I'm just going to go into my plan, and I'll just go slab, and I'll go just 100 mil slab, and I'll go rectangle, and I'm just going to click from here, and I'll just click somewhere over there like that. Okay, we can just offset this now. So I'll click on the slab. We'll see, so this actually needs to go offset right to there. Okay, and I'm going to offset this as well to right there. I believe that should be correct. Okay, let's go have a look. Okay, so that's going right to this edge. Okay, and let's see the other side. Okay, and this should be going right to this edge. So we'll just offset that. So you just click on this line and go offset. Okay, so that looks to be correct. Okay, however, now we need to actually move it down. So I'm just quickly going to hide this railing so I can see what's happening. So I'll just go here, and we'll go to our railing, and I'm just going to hide it quickly. So this should be it. Okay, now let's see. So this needs to basically, so we'll go move from. Okay, so it needs to be, okay, so that's where that slab is ending. However, we need to make this go down to, let's see, needs to go down 50. Okay, so where we offset this, we're just going to go 50. Okay, so that's now, let's just go back. So we click here, and we'll go move from, click here, we'll hold shift. Okay, and we'll go down here to 50. Right, so now that is properly offset. Okay, so that's just to allow for you know, rain to flow over, not to flow, actually flow into the house. And then I'm just going to actually change the color of this. So I'll just right click on this, and I'll go to find material. I'll just drag this over, and I'll say replace on this object, and I'll just click like that. Okay. Okay, so that should be fine. Now these walls, we're going to update them to actually include, like I said, the 30 mil battens. Okay, so I'm going to go to delete this tiling, delete all tiling. Okay, and this wall, these walls actually need to have the 30 mil instead of a render. Okay, so I'm just going to go to edit. I'm just going to actually make the edits again. So this one will be 30 mils, and then this will be beach, because this wall structure is different to the one that we created previously. Okay, and I'll just call this Battens. Okay, and I'll just go okay. Okay, and I'll just go okay again. Okay, so now you can see there's a the layer of battens coming across. Okay, now let's just see. Okay, for this we'll do the same. So okay, so for this one we're going to create the battens as well. However, we just need to make sure that this is aligning properly with the wall below. Okay, because this this brickwork actually needs to be aligned. So let's just go back and make sure that that's aligning. Okay, so we're going to click ground floor below. So you can see it's slightly offset because of that layer that we've just created. So the program is thinking that that is actually part of the structure, whereas it's not actually. So we just need to move that back into place. Okay, because the battens are going right over the top. Okay, so you can see the battens are coming right across here. So we'll just hit rebuild. Okay. Alright, so because there's a render layer, that's fine. And this one as well. So, okay, this one is a different type of wall, you see, because it's coming right to the top of that structure. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go edit compound walls. I'll set this to 30 mils and I'll change this to beach. So this is also going to be our batten layer. Okay, and I'll just click OK. I'll click OK again. So this one as well, we also need to move this back into place. So I'm just going to, so we have the ghost layer below, so you can see we've clicked this. So to do your ghost layers, you just click over there and you just click over here. So now we just need to move this back into place. So move from here to here. Okay, and you can see that's because this these battens are going over the top. So the battens are not part of the structure. Okay, so you can see over here, just to show you like that, it makes sense for the battens to go over the top. Okay, and this will just move this in line with the battens. Okay, just so that the battens are going right over the top. So I'll go offset and I'll click over there. Okay, and okay, I'll just hit rebuild. So that's just because the floor is not sitting on top of the battens, and we need the battens, as you can see down here, to go right over the top. Okay, that's looking good. Although in this one we might actually want to bring it right down a little bit, but we could change that. Okay, so this one, we're going to do the same for this one. So you could either save it as a style or you can just quickly redo it. Either one I think would be pretty much the same amount of time. So we'll just go batten and I'll go OK. And I'll just go OK. This one will save as a new style. So this will save as render plasterboard plus battens TS -15, just to sort of indicate to myself what that is, and we'll save this as BW17 only in this project. Okay, and I'll just go activate, just to sort of make sure that these two walls are the same. So for this one I'll do that as well. I'll just go where it says no style, and I'll just activate BW17. Okay, and so this one we just need to move that into place as well. Okay, so we'll go back to the floor plan, and I'm just going to show the level below by ghosting it. So I'm just going to click over here and ghost this layer. Okay, so this one, we just need to offset that by 30 to the right. So I'll just go move from, and I'll just go 30 mils. Okay, so now you can see right here, the battens are going right over the top. So that's good. Okay, so that's looking good. Now we need to go change all the other parts. So now that we have our slab sitting properly, we need to have the other slab also over here. Okay. Right, so what we need to do now is we're actually gonna move these ones up. Okay, they need to be up to about there. This one is going, so this is part of our feature wall. Okay, we're moving this up right to here. And we're moving this part up as well. Okay, so if we have a look at this, you can see that there's a few problems that we need to solve. So this wall is going right into this wall, which is not correct. Okay, and you can see with this one, this wall is also going into this wall. Okay, so the first thing that we'll do is we're going to actually make this floor, we're going to make this cutting. Okay, so what we need to do is we're going to click on it, go edit, and for slab type we're going to select so cut the walls, we're going to select all floors. We'll just go okay, and I'm just going to hit rebuild. Okay, so now you can see now it's cutting all the walls. So if there's a layer right in the way, it's going to cut through it. Okay, so you can see now this wall is being cut properly. Okay, so it's connecting right to the edge of this instead of going through it. Okay, and the same is for this one as well. So you can see that is actually going right through. Okay, now that's good. Now the other slab for here is pretty much going to be the same as here. Okay, now there's two ways to do this. So you can either make this slab as a single slab going right to here, or you can just create another slab and connect it to here. Okay, so I'm going to quickly demonstrate both ways. So let's say, okay, just to show you a quick example, we're going to go over here to slab, and I'll go here to, let's just say, you know, we have a 100 mil slab like that. Okay, and we want to make part of it recessed, so we can actually do that. So let's say this is one slab and part of it is recessed. So to do that, we can just go right click, okay, and we can go recess and create recess. So let's say this part of the balcony needs to be recessed by 50 mils. Like that, we'll just go like that, and you can see it's recessed now. Okay. So let's say this was a 150 mil slab with a timber finish. Okay, we can just undo that, and I'm going to select that as a, let's say 150 plus 15 mil finish. Okay, now we actually need to move this top layer back. So I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to go edit one layer, and I'm going to go offset. Okay, so let's just offset this to around about here. Okay, so now you can see it's like that. Okay, now we can also add the recess. So if we right click here and we go recess, create recess, we'll just align it like that, like that, and like that. Now click OK. Okay, now that's one way to do it. Okay, and that requires a few more steps. So first you have to remove this top layer, and then you have to add a recess. Okay, now for this example, I'm not going to use this method because we're really, all we're doing is we're just creating a really simple slab, okay? And that doesn't matter too much. So all I'm doing is creating a slab in here. Okay, so I'll just click on here, and this slab is going to be cutting, okay, but the slab that I'm adding is not going to be cutting. So let's just click ground floor so we can see. Okay, so our slab is going to be sitting right on top of the internal brick layer. Actually both brick layers, it's going to be sitting on top of both. Okay, so for our slab, we'll just go slab, and it's going to be 100 mil slab. So let's just go, this is going to be from, let's say over here, right to over here. Okay. Alright, so then for this part, we're going to insert a node right here, and we're going to offset this to about there. Okay, so this slab is now sitting, if you can see, right on top. Okay, now actually what we want to do with this, okay, so first of all we need to align it. So I'm just going to go move from, and I'll just select here, all the way down, and I'll just select that point. Okay, now one thing I need to do is to actually make sure the snap and grid is on. Okay, so we're just going to move this from here. And we're going to just move that down. Okay, to this endpoint. Okay. Okay, and then what we need to do is we're going to offset it by 50. So we'll go here, and we're just going to type in 50 mils. Okay. Okay, so that's all looking good. Now what we need to do is, you can see this part, there's a little bit of a gap. So what we need to do is we need to connect it. So this is going to go offset, and we're going to click to there. And this one, we're going to also offset that. We're going to connect that right to there. Okay. So this one as well. Okay, so that's all good. Okay, so now what we got to do is we've actually got to move this down, and we're going to create another wall that's going to go on the top, on top of this. Okay. The reasoning for that is because this slab needs to actually sit on top of the brick. Okay. So what we're going to do, this one we're just going to make sure no cutting. Okay. Okay, and what we're going to do, so it's no cutting, so that's sitting right on top of the brick. Okay, this as well, so this we need to move that down actually. Okay, so we'll just move that, up to there, right in line with that, and this one actually as well. So this actually just needs to come up to here. So that might have actually solved the fact that we don't necessarily need to make this cutting, this slab. So we can actually, instead of making this cutting, we can actually just set it back to not cutting. we'll just go no cutting. Okay, and the reasoning for that is that we're actually going to create another wall on top, so that's going to solve this part. So I'll just click like that. Okay, and we actually want to make one small little adjustment, which is to move this a little bit to the right. Okay, so if we see this, okay, that should be okay then. Yeah, right, so let's get to that part. Okay, actually, so we'll just go back again, click on this, and we'll go floor plan, we'll go copy objects, go level 1. Okay, we'll just delete this. Okay, and we will make this bottom of structure, we'll make that top of structure. Okay, so bottom of structure, we'll just go TS minus 15. So we want that to be sitting right on top. So go okay. Okay, and we'll just actually, so that should be, I think that should be TS minus 30. Just have a look. It's 30. Because that's offset. TS minus, I believe that should be minus 50. Minus 65 actually. Minus 65. This we would make that 65. That's because that's sitting right now on top. So the reference point is not actually this floor. The reference point is the internal floor. Okay, and the internal floor is 150 mil thick plus 15 mil. Okay, so we're moving it down by 50 mil as well as by 15 mil, so that's 65. Alright, so I think that should be all good. And we'll just make this a little bit lower. Okay, so we'll make it up to here. And then the top also needs to be flat. So we'll go edit compound walls, the top, we'll just make all of this the same height. And we'll go okay. And I'm going to save this as a style as well. So I'm just going to go new, and I'll go Parapet wall. I'll just save it in this project, and I'll go okay. Activate. Okay, so this one, we'll make sure to select it in the floor plan. So we'll go over here, we'll click here, we'll click right click here, properties, copy to level 1. Okay, we'll delete the window. Okay, and I'm going to click on it, edit. Okay, and we're going to select that parapet wall, go activate and go okay. Right, so now that's already changed the wall style. Move this back a little bit. Okay, so we'll just go L connection like that. Okay. Okay, so hold on. Now we'll do this one as well. So I'm just going to click over here, and I will go to floor plan view, and I'll go click on this, and we'll go to floor plan, properties, and I'm just going to copy it to level 1. Okay, and I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to select the style and just change it to that parapet wall. So I'll go activate and okay. So then this one I'll just move a little bit to the side. So I'll move it right to here. Okay, and I'll go move this a little bit sideways just so we can connect the two. Okay, and we'll go L connection like this and like this. Okay, now we can also see there's an internal render layer, which I think we'll leave. It's not always necessary to have it because you're not going to really see this, but I think we'll leave it. Okay, now the way this needs to go, this needs to be a connection right there. So we're just going to move that right into the core layer. So we'll just go like that, and we'll just select it like that. Okay. Okay, so let's go have a look. Right, so this one needs to be moved right into this. So we'll just go to the floor plan and just make a few small adjustments. So I'll just move it right to there. And actually I want this to be in line. So I'll just go move from, and I'm going to move this sideways a little bit. Okay. Okay, and obviously this needs to be sitting on top. So we'll just click on this railing, go to move from. Okay, this railing is also going to be changed, so that part we'll do next. Okay, now that we have this sitting like this, let's see. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is going to be our tiling level. Okay, so you'll see soon why it needs to be like that. Okay, so we need to delete this window, and you'll soon see why we have to do that. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to create a render. I'll just move that just so it corresponds with the one below. Okay, so it has the render. Okay, for this part we also need that, so I'm just going to move this back like so. Okay, and alright, so we're going to copy that. We'll go back to the floor plan, and I'll go ground floor. This little part we also need a copy, so right click floor plan, properties, copy, level 1, copy. Okay, now this needs to go down to there. Okay, this needs to go, we'll make this, we'll just make this a parapet wall, click OK. Alright, so needs to move now, it's just gonna butt into the edge, so we'll just move it right to the edge of this wall, right to there. Okay, and it also needs to have two render layers, so we'll just go edit, and we'll just go copy this one. We're just going to move this to the top. We'll go OK. Right, so now we have the two connecting. Okay, and I'm just going to go to L connection, this to this. Okay, so now we have that connecting. Okay, and I could probably make some adjustments so that actually makes sense. Okay, so let's just go and fix that up quickly. So we'll just make this, we'll just insert a node over here, go offset like that, and I'll just offset this like that. Okay. Alright, so we got the render going over the top. Okay, and this one doesn't have a render layer. Okay, and we need to create a small layer that's going to go right to the bottom. Okay, so we got to split these walls into two. Okay, so that's what we'll do. So we'll go to level 1, ground floor I mean, and we're going to split these in two because there's a special little feature wall coming right across there. Okay, so to do that, we're just going to click on this. We'll go edit, and we're going to go insert endpoint, click the outside edge, okay, and we'll just make it around about there. Okay, so we have 2 walls now. Okay, now I'm just going to move this like that. I'm going to move this one like that. Okay, now what we need is we need a single brick one. Okay, and that's going to go right to the top part. So how we do that is we click over here, and we need to find the single brick layer. Okay, 110 brick wall with plaster. Okay, so that one will be fine. So we'll just click F5 and move it like that, and we'll just make a few adjustments. Okay, so we need to move from here to here. Okay, now that's looking good. Now the only thing that will just change about this is we're going to remove the external render. Okay, so we'll go edit, go external layer, and we'll remove that render. Okay, now you can see this is going across. Okay, that's looking good. So we need to split the top wall as well. So we'll go above and we'll click on it. We'll go we'll go edit, and we'll go again insert endpoint. We'll click on the edge and we'll just go midpoint like that. Okay, so there's a little bit of aligning we need to do. Okay, so we're moving this back to here. Okay, and we're moving this back to here. So we'll just select a point right there. Okay. Okay, and we're also going to copy across that window. Okay, so let's go to here. Okay, we're going to go down. Okay, that window needs to be in this wall. Okay, so I'm just going to go move a copy, and I'm going to move it in this wall. Okay, so you can see it's right there, and what we need to do now is we need to shift it. Distance from wall line, we'll say about 30. Okay, so now you can see it's sitting in the window, sorry, in the wall. But now we need to make sure the spacing is equal. Okay, so we'll click here, hold shift, and click on this wall. So that we can see is about 697.9. Okay, let's just make this equal. So let's say click like that, and we'll go 700. Okay, so actually we need to hold shift, so click on this one, hold shift, change the direction like that, and we'll make this 700. Okay, so we can see that shifted across. Same for this one, so we'll click on this, hold shift like that, click on the arrow, switch directions, and we'll make this 700. Okay, so really easily we space that out equally. Now this one, this wall needs to come right to here like that. This one needs to come right to here like that. Okay, and this wall needs to go right to the edge of that, and this one as well. Okay, now if we have a look, we can see now we have the single brick. Okay, and we have this top layer over here. Let's just hit rebuild. Okay, now we just need to make a small adjustment because this slab is now coming out here. So we just want to create a node. So we're going to create a node over here, and we're going to create a node over here. So we'll just create a node like that. Okay, and we can just go back to the floor plan. So we'll click on this, go back to the floor plan, and just make that small little edit. So we'll just offset this like that, and we'll offset this like that, and we will just click rebuild. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that's fine. What we'll do now is we'll just make this adjustment as well. So I'm just going to click like that. insert node right there. I'll insert another node on this side. Okay, and I'll just offset this. Okay, and this one actually needs to come up all the way. So I'm going to click on this and go change height. And you'll start seeing how our design starts to come together. Okay, now we're actually building this as it would be built. Okay, like that. And this one comes right to there. Okay, so you can see now we have a, let's just say we have a brick lintel right there. And we have, what we're going to do is we're going to put the cladding right there. So it's going to be part of that part. Okay, so for this part of the facade, I've actually gone and I've deleted the, if we have a look here, none of these actually have a render layer. So I've actually deleted that in the edit compound walls. Okay, so what I want to do is this wall is going to have a tiling layer right on top of it. Okay, and these walls are going to have a render layer. So what I want to do is I actually want this render layer to extend all the way down. Okay, so we'll start with this side first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a background layer like we did before on which the cladding is going to stick to. Okay, so sorry, that the tiling is going to stick to. So we're just going to add a really thin layer. Okay, so I'll just go edit compound walls. And this render, I'll just go plus, and I'm just going to move it all the way to the top. And this one, we're just going to make this, let's say we'll just make it 1 millimeter thick. And I'll go OK. Right, so if we zoom in a little bit, we can see that there is a render layer right on top. Now in your model, as you're following along with this, if this wall is actually not aligned with the render layer actually extruding, you can actually just click on it and you can go to your floor plan and you can just check that it's aligned. So you can just click over here and ghost the level below. Okay, and if you zoom in a bit, you can see that it's aligned right here. And go have a look. So if we zoom into this a little bit, you can see that these two are aligned and that this is extending over the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I actually need to move this layer all the way down. So I'm just going to right click. I'm going to go to edit layers. And this actually allows me to adjust individual layers at a time. Okay, so if you click up here, you can change the height. If you click right here, you can change which layer you're extending. So I'm going to extend this background layer. Okay, I'm going to go change height. I'm just going to move it all the way to the bottom. So now if you zoom in a little bit, you can see that it's actually going right over the top. Okay, so that's going to help us when we do our tiling, which needs to go right over the top. Okay, now we're going to do something similar with these sides. So with this one, I'm going to click edit. Okay, I'm going to go edit compound walls. And again, I'm going to create a render layer. But this one is going to just have one single render layer. Okay. Now I'm going to click OK and OK. And again, you just need to make sure that the actual structure of this wall is connected to the structure of the slab. So the incorrect way to do this is actually to connect it so that this is, if we just move it from, okay, so this is actually the incorrect way to connect it. Okay, so you need to connect the structure. Now what we're going to do is pretty much the same. Okay, so on this one, I'm just going to go right click and I'm going to go to edit layers, and I can simply just, if we just get a nice view. Okay, so I'm just going to go right click, edit layers, and I'm just going to change the heights of this. Okay, and we're going to move it down like that. So now you can see the render layer is going right over the top. Okay, now in this one I want to do the same. Okay, so I'm just going to go to edit, edit compound walls, and I'm going to go and add this layer. Just going to move this to the top. Okay, and I'll just go okay. And we got to make sure that we also do that for this one. Okay, so it already has it. This one we need to remove it. Okay, so I'm just going to go edit, and I'm going to delete this exterior layer, and I'll just go okay. And we need to move it in line with the structure. Just move it from this point, and we'll just move it right in line with that structure. Okay, so that's going to look like that, and we'll just adjust the as you can see, this is in the wrong area. Okay, so this is the foundation. So we've just adjusted that because it wasn't actually going up to the structure. Okay, now what we got to do next is in this one you're going to see that we actually have to, let's have a look. So this is actually not going over the top, so we're going to have to make a small adjustment. Okay, so this needs to actually be moved slightly across. Okay, so I'm just going to go, so we can either do it in the 3D or the 2D. So this needs to be moved right in line with that. Okay, so now we've actually connected the structure. So the structure is connecting, and we'll have a look here. Okay, so that's looking good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same. We're just going to extend this downwards. Okay, so that's the render layer, so that it goes across both walls and also across the slab. So I'm just going to right click, and again I'm going to go edit layers. I'm going to go to change heights, and I'm going to move it down. Okay, so now we seem to have a little bit of an issue, which is that we can't see our window. Okay, now we can actually easily fix that by creating a recess. Okay, so we're just going to we'll go back here to walls. We'll go edit, and we'll go create wall recess. Okay, we're just going to create one like that for now. Now we're just going to go onto the plan, and we just need to make it the same as this window. So this window is in width, that's 825.2 by 2700. Okay, so we just got to make sure that this is the same. So let's go up, and we'll go to this recess. Okay, and we're just going to ghost the layer below. Okay, so now we're just going to move it in line with this window. So change width. Okay, I'm just going to snap it to there. Change width, and I'm just going to snap it to there. Okay, now it needs to be 20 mil in thickness just to cut through the render layer. Okay, okay, so we're just going to go change this material, needs to be render. Okay, just so it's the right color. And we're just going to go edit, and I'm going to change the width. Okay, the width is fine. The height needs to be 2700. Okay, and base offset from the floor, I need to make that minus 3 meters. Okay, so if we click like that, we can go back here and see that it's been placed in the right area. Okay, so now we have the cladding going right over the top, and we can see our window. Now you can make adjustments. If it's not the right height, you can just change. Again, you can just go here to your floor plan, and you can just change this this offset. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this off. Okay, and we'll go down, and you can see that's all the correct sizings. So let's have a look. Okay, so what we need to do next is we're going to start doing our tiling and our cladding. Okay, now a little adjustment we need to do. So we're going to do our cladding. So over here again, we need to make this, we need to add a cladding. So I'll just go like that. and change this to beach. Okay, I'm going to make this 30 mil. So it's a batten layer of 30 mil. And it's going to have no hatch, and I'll just call this battens. Okay, and I'll go okay. Right, so now you can see our batten layer. Okay, now this part, I'm going to make that actually go all the way to the bottom. So I'm just going to click on it and go to change height, like that, and I'll just click it like that, and I'm just going to hit rebuild. Okay, so now we have that part. And the last thing that we need to do is I'm just going to place the cladding. Okay, so we're going to use this style of cladding. So I'll just go right click and I'll go to tiling on this wall side, on this wall only. Okay, so we don't have the right one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this one, tiling on the layout, just so that we can remember, so the program remembers the correct tiling. So this is the one we want to use. So I'll just click OK and just escape, and I'll just delete this. Okay, so now we'll go back to here. I'll go right click and I'll go tiling on the wall side, tiling on this wall only. Okay, and we're just going to go from left to right, just like that. Okay, so we have this cladding part finished, and it's looking quite nice. Okay, now the next part we're going to do is we're actually going to do the tiling on this side. Okay, so I'm just quickly going to check my tiling sizings. Okay, so the sizings of this tiling, so we're just going to place the tiling first. So we'll go right click, tiling on wall side on this wall only. Okay, then we need to make some changes, right? So firstly, for the material, we'll just go and find a nice stone finish. So probably this one over here. Okay, so then what we need to do is we need to change this. This is just the sizing of the tiling that I want to use, 240. Okay, this one's going to be 5 mil, and I'm going to change this to 9 millimeters. So this is just the thickness of the grout, probably 8 millimeters. Okay, and the tiling thickness, I'm going to change this to 10 mil. You can change it to 25 or whatever you need. Okay, now I'll probably change this actually to, let's make it 25 mil. Okay, so we'll leave it like that. Okay, so this is looking good, so I'll just go okay, and I'm just going to tile it from the left to the right. Okay, now we can see there's a little bit of an issue. This is just the background area that we need to edit. So we'll click here, edit background area, and we'll click here. Okay, so we're just going to remove this area. So we'll click like that and click OK. And then we're going to delete the tiling and just place it again. Okay, so we'll right click, tiling on this wall side, on this wall only. Okay, and we'll just tile from left to right, and as you can see the background area is now edited. Okay, so we got the tiling on, and we'll do the tiling here as well. So let's just have a look. Okay, we just need to change the background color. I'm not quite happy with that. Okay, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to tiling, and I'm going to go tiling on the wall side, on this wall only. Okay, and this one I want to change that to white. Okay, and we'll just go with white wall paint. Okay, and I'll go okay. And I'm just going to tile this from left to right. Okay, and we'll do the other part here as well. So I'm going to do that same one here. So I'll just go right click, and then I'm going to go to tiling on the wall side, on this wall only. Okay, and I'm just going to go okay. And I just need to basically line it up with one of the existing tiles. So I'll just go from, let's see, just go from there to there. Okay, so try that again. So I'll just go right click, tiling on this wall side, on this wall only. Okay, and I'm going to take it from the bottom right there and just hold shift and it will align. Okay, so we've got our tiling like that. And I'll just do the top as well. So we'll go right click, tiling on this wall side, on this wall only. And I can just really go from right to left holding shift. Okay, and we've added our tiling. Okay, now the next part that we'll do is we'll just actually we can just change this so that it's white. Okay, so we just see like a white paint over it. And now we can just do this really quick. We can just go find material, and we're just going to go like that. And I'm just going to go replace one material with another on this object. So we change all of it like that. Okay. Now there's some other parts we also need to change, because you can see there's a little gap here. So I'm just going to go right click again, and I'm going to go to edit layers, and I'm just going to move this one down a little bit, just so it's in line with the space right here. Okay, and I'll do the same for this one. I'll go edit one layer, and I'm just going to go change height and move it all the way down like that. Okay, and lastly this one, I'll probably do parts of this, so let's just go like that. Okay, and we're actually going to move this whole thing down. So I'll just go right click, and I'll go to edit layers, and I'm just going to go change height. Okay, so this editing individual layers is quite a beneficial tool to be able to use. Okay, so lastly we need to do this side. So we'll just quickly edit this floor to match. Okay, so we'll just move it like that, and we'll just go hit rebuild. Okay, so we'll just change this floor profile quickly, and we'll go offset, and we'll make sure it matches with this one. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, now for this one we're going to do pretty much the same thing. So we're just going to go right click, we'll go to edit layers, and I'm just going to move it all the way down to the bottom. So this is just the render that's going all the way down, as you can see. Okay, okay, now the last part of all this cladding that we need to do is that we need to add our cladding over here. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've actually added that cladding layer. Sorry, I've added the battens. So all you need to do, go just to edit wall, okay, and add a 30mm batten to that. Okay, now I'm just gonna go and we're gonna put our door back in. So I've previously deleted that because I wasn't actually happy with the structure of that. So we can actually just go right here and go to move a copy, and I'm just going to move the copy back into place. Okay, so I'll place it, I'll hit F5, and I think I'll be quite happy with it, more or less there. Okay, so I think that's looking quite nice, and I'm probably just going to increase the size of this and make it a little bit higher. Okay, maybe even a little bit higher. Okay, now I'm gonna again add this cladding, so I'll just go right click here, tiling on the layout, just hit it right there, and I'll go edit. Okay, and I'll go OK and escape, and then I'm gonna add my tiling again over here. So I'll just right click on wall side, tiling this wall only, and I'll go OK from right to left. Okay, so we got our cladding like that, and I'm going to do the same for this side. Okay, and I'm just going to go again right click, and I'm going to go tiling on this wall side, on this wall only, and I'll go OK, and it doesn't really matter, we can place it anywhere from left to right. Okay, so we've placed it right across that wall, and I'm going to do this one as well. Okay, now just do this one, tiling on wall side, on this wall only. Okay, so in this next part, we're going to be looking at adding the parapet capping, and we're gonna make some small adjustments to this railing and this wall. Okay, now the first thing you can notice here is that I actually made a mistake previously, and this wall actually needed to be a little bit higher. So I've just gone and adjusted that and made it a little bit higher. Okay, and that's for the parapet capping that we're going to be adding. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a profile for the capping. Okay, now if we have a look at this thickness, so we want this parapet to be going right over the top. Okay, so if we look at this thickness, okay, we're going to measure this from here to the other side. So this is going to be 306, and it needs to be at a 3-degree angle, pointing downwards. Okay, so we'll go over here. Okay, and we're going to create a capping of 3 degrees. So how we do that is we go drafting, we go line. Okay, so we're going to make this 306. Okay, so that's going to be the internal side, and then the inclination here, we need to have that at 3 degrees. So we'll go hit tab, and we'll just go hit tab again, and we'll make this 3 degrees like that. Okay, and just delete this one and make it from here. So we'll go here, and I'm just going to go 306 and just connect it like that. Okay, and we'll just change this length. Okay, so then this needs to go okay, so it needs to actually be just flipped around, so I'm just going to flip it around. I'm just going to mirror it. So I'll just go to mirror, just from here to here, so we can flip it the other way. Okay, so this is going to be a parapet capping. So this one will make it about 70. We'll add a little extension right here. Okay, and we'll just make this go all the way through. Okay, so actually this is gonna just be like that. Okay, now I'll do the same to the other side. Now I'm just going to delete this one, and I'm just gonna create it like that and just match it with that. Now this one, I'm just gonna flip this, mirror a copy. I'll just go from midpoint to there. Okay, so we have a parapet capping that's going to go over the top. Okay, now all I need to do is I'm going to offset this by 0.5 to the outside. So I'll go 0.5, and I'll do the same here. I'll go 0.5, and I'll just do the same over here. I'll go 0.5. 0.5. Okay, and we'll do the other side as well. So I'll go here, 0.5, and I'll do this one, and I'll do this one. Okay, so now we just need to connect these, and I'll be using just a arc, and I'm just going to connect these like that. Just a fairly simple connection. And we'll do the other side as well, like so. And I'll do this one, that. It really depends how detailed you want to get. If you have an existing profile for this parapet, you can use that as well. So here, I think I'll just go like that, and I'll do this side as well. Okay, and these, I'm just going to change the lengths to here, to here. Okay, on this side as well, I'll just change this length to intersect over here. Okay, so now we have a profile that we can use, which is a closed loop. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to new profile, define closed profile, and closed loop. Click on inner area of an area. Okay, so I'm just going to click like that, click again, and you can see it's picking up our profile. Okay, so I'm going to go new, I'll just go parapet capping 306 millimeters. Okay, and we'll save it right there, and I'll go okay. Okay, so we'll just leave it there. We're going to reuse it actually. Actually, we can delete that. So we'll go now and we're going to add our parapet capping, okay, all along the top. So what we need to do is we're going to go to interior, we're going to go to sweep, and we're going to sweep along the top from, let's say, so we'll just sweep it from, we'll start from this side actually. Okay, so we're going to sweep from here to here. We'll sweep it along. We'll just hold shift and we will just move and snap it right there, and we'll just hold shift and we're going to snap it over the top of this. Okay, and I'm just going to snap it right there. Okay, and we're going to hit enter, and so now we just need to change this profile. Okay, so I'm going to go here, I'm going to select the profile that I just created. Okay, so there's the one that we just created, and I'll click OK. Alright, so let's see. Now we need to change the reference point. Okay, so let's change the material first, and have a look at the actual reference point of this. So you can see here, if you zoom in a bit, you can actually see from which reference point it's placing. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to place it from this reference point, and I'll go OK. So now you can see, I think it should actually be this one. So we'll just click on it and let's zoom in a bit and we'll make it this point. Okay, that should be okay, and we'll just go have a look. Alright, so now you can see, okay, so actually it needs to be a little bit to the side. Let's have a look. Okay, so we just need to make this a little bit thicker, so we can actually make some adjustments here. So I'm gonna make this to, let's see, 320. Okay, now we've made it a little bit thicker and it's gonna go over the top like that. Okay, so we got our reference point. Okay, so that's going right snugly over the top. Now we might want to make it maybe a little bit thinner so we can adjust that. So we'll just go back here, and width will go 315 and we'll go okay. So I think that's sitting quite snugly and that should be okay. So now you can see we have our parapet capping. Now I'm actually going to change the color of this, and we'll just go and sort of make it a light, sort of a light steel color, and I think that'll be okay. Now we need a smaller parapet going along the middle, so we're actually just going to create a node right here, and we're going to create a node right there, and I'm going to click on this line and I'm going to go delete part. Okay, so now we actually split this. However, it's still connected, so we can change this line. So we'll just go here on the floor plan, and I'm actually going to change this. I'm going to go change length and just snap it to there. Okay, and for this one, I'm going to go change length, and I'm going to snap it to there. Okay, that's looking good, and I'll just delete this. Okay, and also this wall, I need to snap right in line. The other way. Okay. Right, so we'll go back, and now we need a smaller parapet that's going to be running along this wall right here. Okay, so again, to change that, we just need a thickness to it. So we'll go dimension, measure, distance, and I'll go from here to the other side. Okay, measure distance 175.5. Let's just double check that. So we'll just quickly check on the floor plan. If we go down, from here to, okay, so yeah, that should be about the right sizing. Okay, so just okay, so we'll go and create that capping. So we'll go right here, and we'll go to our profiles, and we're going to place it again. So we'll go to profile, and we'll go to capping, and I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to place profile. Okay, so what we need to do now is just needs to be a little bit to the side, a little bit smaller. So I'm going to make this 175.5. Okay, and I'm just going to drag this one into place. So I'm just going to go move from, and I'll just shift and click. Okay, and this, I'm just going to change length to here, and this one, I'm just going to change this length to here. I'll move this down like that, and this one like that. Okay, and I'm going to add an arc from here to here. So it's essentially this the same one, we've just reused it to create a new profile. Okay, now that's looking good, and I'm going to create a new profile. New profile, define closed loop, points on the inner fill. Okay, and I'm going to call this parapet capping 175.5 millimeters. So that's going to go over the top. Okay, so now we can go and place it. So I'm going to go to interior, and I'm going to go sweep. I'm going to click on this, and I'm just going to go from this point all the way to this point, and I'll go OK. And now we'll go again to select the profile, and here you can see we have it right there. So I'll click OK, and we'll change the material, just select it like this one for now. What we need to do now is select the reference point, and we actually want the reference point. If we go to this, the reference point should be from here. So we'll just click this one. I'll click OK. Okay, so we need to flip this because it's not going the right way. So that's what we'll do. We'll just quickly flip this around. So we'll click like this, and we'll go mirror. Okay, and we're just going to move that back into place. Okay, and if we have a look now, okay, we have it in place. So we've essentially just gone and quickly moved it. Now, here we just actually want to go move from, we're going to move it from there to there. So now you can see the two are matching. Okay, and I think that's looking quite nice, except the color. So I'll go find material, just drag it across and replace with one material with another. Okay, so we have our capping on. And actually we just want to fill in these two edges. Okay, so for that we can really simply just go and create just a 3D shape. Okay, so I'll just go from about here like that, and I'll go 0.5. Okay, and I'll just quickly edit this. So I'll just go over here and just quickly go edit. The reference point I'll set from here to there. Now if we change this, okay, we can just move this back into place like that. So we'll just move this one up a little bit. Okay, and I'll go move from, and it really doesn't have to be that accurate. We'll just move it to there. Okay, and I'm just going to change this material. Okay, so I'll just go click on this, find material, just drag it. Okay, and this is looking fine. Now this one, I'm just really going to copy this across. So I'm just going to go move a copy from here to here. I'll just go move from, and I'll just go move it around. And I'll just move it from there to there. Okay. Okay, so we have our capping finished. Now what we need to do is we're just going to make some adjustments to this wall feature. So this actual wall feature needs to come down a little bit. So we'll just change the height to about there. And this one will change the height to go about there. And we're also going to change this. Okay, so the last thing we'll do is, it's actually looking quite good. Now the last thing that we'll do is this railing. We're actually going to turn this into a modern railing. I want a modern railing that has spaces in between, and I want the handrail to actually be on the top. So this is not the railing that I really like, and I want something a bit more modern. So I'm going to change this to glass railing with frame, and I'm going to make some modifications. Okay, so we'll just go on edit. Okay, so we'll just go on edit, and then I'm going to go to panels and bars, and we're going to delete the frame. So it's going to be a glass frameless railing, and I'm also going to delete all these. So I think, yeah, that's the one that we'll keep, and we'll just delete the other ones. Okay, so we'll just go delete, 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 delete. Okay, and the baluster height needs to be 1 meter. Offset from path, I believe this should be 0. So we'll set that to 0, and these ones we'll set that to 0 as well. Okay, so let's go have a look. Okay, so if we just leave it like that, we'll also just edit this. So this height needs to be 1 meter. Okay, and I'll just go redraw. Okay, so this is width is 1 meter by 1 meter. Now I could probably, you can change this width as well. So the height, I'll leave that at 1 meter, but you can change the width to, you know, 800 or whatever. Okay. Alright, so I'm just gonna leave it like that, and I'll go OK and refresh. New posts at the turn, I want to disable these. So we'll just go and make this an empty space. Okay. I can actually disable that completely. And this one, I'm going to make that an empty space. Okay, so now we only see the glass panels. Okay, so it's going to leave a small spacing of 30 mils. And this, I'm going to set this to, let me just have a look, fixed step from the beginning. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that at that. Okay, so I think that should be fine. Now if you look from the front, you can see it's spacing it by the amount of panels. Now you can also go a uniform step where it's going to space everything out equally, or you can choose from any one of these. So you can do fixed step where it shows specifically from each panel, it's going to create a fixed step. Okay, now let's see from the end. Okay, so you can also do this one, uniform step. You can also do this one. Let's see, from first element 0. Okay, now you can see making these changes how they actually reflect across. Fixed step, center to center spacing. Okay, fixed step centered, center to center spacing. Okay, so now you can see making these changes how they actually reflect on the design. And I want these to be sort of equally spaced out, so I'm gonna leave it like that. Okay, and the clear spacing in between items you can see here in the little diagram, that's between these two parts. Okay, and the center to center spacing is basically the center of each panel. Okay, now I'm just gonna add the last thing that I want to add is I want to change the handrail, and I'm gonna make this just a rectangular profile. Okay, and the handrail, I'm gonna make it, let's just have a look, at 50 by 25, 50 by 25. Okay, and I think I like that. Okay, and we also need to change its offset to make it right in the middle. So the material, I'm going to use aluminium. Just have a look. Yeah, I think that will be fine. And I'm just going to change this to -30 just to offset it to the middle of this. Okay, so I think that'll do. I quite like how this came out, so I'm just going to hit OK. Right, so now you can see the modern railing looks quite nice, but we just need to move it a little bit down. So I'm just going to go move from, and I'm just going to move it along the blue axis. Okay, so that's looking super nice. I actually really like this. Now the only thing, let's have a look at this, needs to come back a little bit. So we'll just make that quick adjustment. Okay, we're just going to bring this back a little bit. So we'll go, we'll just go to move node and we'll just bring it back like that. Now you can see there's a bit of a spacing which we don't want to see. So let's just go back to here. Okay, now I'm just going to move this back a little bit. Okay. Okay, now that, just move that back a little bit more. Alright. So what I want to change is this actual spacing, which I don't want to see. So we'll just go back in. Okay, now you can see there's a little bit of a spacing right there, and I want to remove it. So we'll just go to handrail, and we'll go over here, overhang at start, and we'll just go, let's see, -15, go 15, and we'll just have a look. Okay, so that's connecting right there. And here we'll just go 15. 16. Let's see over here. Okay, so that should be fine. Now it's all fixed. We'll just go okay. Right, and you can see it's, should probably just move this one back a little bit, but essentially that's fixed it. So this will just move back a little bit. Okay. So now you can see our facade actually looks really nice. And when we create our elevations, this is really going to help to, you know, communicate something really aesthetically pleasing with all the colors and, you know, all the patterns, the tiling, the cladding, all that sort of stuff. Now, as you can see, our design is really starting to come together quite nicely. And I've done a little quick render here on the side just to show you what it's going to look like. In our next episode, we're going to be looking at building a roof and adding 2 new gutters, and I'm going to be showing you in detail how we can construct that roof. So I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to subscribe, leave some feedback below, and remember to click the bell button to get notified when we post another tutorial. As always, thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next ARCHLineXP tutorial.